Welcome to Enjoy Fort Wayne. This episode is brought to you by the YLNI Farmers Market and highlights the 350 vendors that make up the #1 market in the state of Indiana.
I'm Marilyn Miars from TreeFrog Farm.
And how long has TreeFrog Farm been in existence?
TreeFrog Farm's been in existence about 15 years.
Okay. So
under that name.
Okay. And what is your background? Are you from Fort Wayne?
No, I'm originally from West Michigan.
Okay. And what were you always thinking that you would be doing? Well, let me ask you this regarding the farm. Tell us a little bit about it and what you sell and that kind of thing.
Okay. Well, the farm itself, we purchased the property in 1987. It was a farm auction where the farm family lost everything.
Oh.
And it was being auctioned off. We actually got one of the smaller pieces at 35 acres. Some people are shocked when they hear that we paid $18,000 for 35 acres of land, but it was just land. And we have a half-mile stretch of creek through it.
Okay.
So that was the very start of things. We originally purchased it with mine to put a house on it, and we had plenty of room to run our motorcycles around. We had old British motorcycles, and we were going to ride in the dirt. We did that a few times.
Sure.
As things developed, I realized it had potential for other things. We stopped the renting of the main field and the front field on the farm, and they stopped applying chemicals in 1989. I tell people at the market, the last time we had chemicals, Barbara Bush was First Lady. Makes people stop and think.
Right, that's been a long time, yeah.
I first had the farm certified as organic in 1992.
Okay.
And that was through the Organic Crop Improvement Association that predated the USDA certifications. And I went on in for a while and did the USDA certifications. That's rather expensive.
Yeah.
And yes, they do compensate you for it, but there's like a 9-month wait between the money goes out and the money comes in, and it's a significant sum. It's like $1,000.
Wow, yeah.
I haven't really changed the practices any, other than improving things.
Sure.
My daughter started helping me when she was about 7. She would go to the farmers markets with me, help the customers.
Yeah.
I taught a 7-year-old how to count back change.
Wow.
Yes, that was impressive. She learned quick.
Wow.
We laughingly say that I really like child labor. We had a crew of children put in an asparagus patch with supervision. We had age range of 9 years to 3 years. The 3-year-old could get the roots up right, and with her brother's help placing them. She was a lot lower to the ground, so she could bend down and do that. The older kids raked, did things like that, and we got in 2 about 8 by 60 foot patches in one afternoon.
Wow.
So they got paid in eggs. So each of those kids that helped went home with a dozen eggs.
Very cool.
As their first pay.
They've come a long way.
I'm not sure what my neighbor did with 3 dozen eggs all of a sudden.
Right.
Since then,
a lot of omelets.
Quite a bit of potatoes and things that we've grown. I don't know if we've had chickens. We had goats for a while for 4-H.
And you started from zero. I mean, you started from motorcycles on dirt roads, you're saying? And just decided one by one?
Land. We had no infrastructure there. We had to put in electric and a well and a house and pretty much everything from scratch.
And do you have a farming background?
I grew up in an area, those familiar with West Michigan will know that it's an area where there are Christmas tree farms, asparagus farms, blueberry farms, orchards, and dairy operations. So coming here where it was row crop and cash grain was quite a shock.
Yeah.
I worked on a truck farm, which would be where they grew vegetables. That was a neighbor of where I was growing up. The home I grew up in was on a small farm that my grandfather kind of farmed. He was retired, but he ran a few head of beef and rented out the barn for horses and things like that.
Yeah.
So I grew up in the area. I picked beans, strawberries, and such for money. When I was growing up, I got my first car. I was allowed to more choices on the clothes that I bought for school, things like that.
Yeah.
So that's a large part of my growing up.
Okay, so yeah, you had a little bit at least. I mean, not as intensive as some of our other vendors, even with farms, have generationally been really on so much stuff, from your goats to all this stuff that you're doing. They've been doing it, and you don't. You kind of just started it, and I'm just interested to find out more regarding that. Like, how do you figure out? Do you just do the research and decide, okay, I think this will yield XYZ, so let's do it? Was that the thought process?
Some of it, I did some reading, on how to make money doing this, things like that. A lot of the thought on that has changed over the years, because in around 1992, yes, there was a farmer's market in Fort Wayne, and it was on Oxford and Warsaw. My customers then were the food co-op, the health food store, the farmer's market at Oxford. In that respect, it was a lot tougher haul than it is now, where there are restaurants and multiple farmers markets and many more people and CSAs, things like that. I had a very early, a CSA is a consumer-supported agriculture, and a lot of them, they run different methods, but basically the people are paying somewhat in advance for a season's worth of produce or product from the farm, because now some of them include meat and eggs and things like that. I had a very small one at that time, working with a local church that had a nutritionist.
Oh.
And she had a little group that she had through the church, and we sat down and we figured out what crops they wanted, and she explained what was particularly good. So I grew black turtle beans for them, a plant that I had never even seen before, let alone grown, and that was okra.
Okay.
Collard greens, things at that time that you couldn't find in a Fort Wayne grocery store to save your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they also got tomatoes and sweet corn and the more standard fare. We made adjustments as we went along, because people had wanted these other things so much that they blocked out everything else. And I said,
and you got to keep up.
Maybe you want to think about this a little more.
Yeah, you got to keep up with what they want. I mean, you want to make money.
1993 time frame.
Wow.
So way ahead of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a lot of new things were just starting to come out if you were looking for them. Sure.
So this is definitely before the original Bar Street Market. Are you one of the originals then? Like, did you get to the Bar Street Market when they first started, or no?
I went to it before YLNI had it. They had it on Wednesdays. And they were focusing then, because downtown was totally different. Downtown was Lincoln Life.
Oh, sure.
All the office workers, and the place vacated at 5.
Yeah.
very early on, I think with the YLNI, I did. But then I took a break from all of that because kind of life happens.
Sure, sure.
And I had to take a break. I did in there too. I also did a farmer's market up in Goshen. That was an indoor year-round market.
Oh, okay.
So came back to the YLNI Bar Street Market as it is now. I was just trying to guess for sure if it was 7 or 8 years ago.
Sure. Okay.
But I think it was 8.
Definitely not your first rodeo. Then let me ask you
No.
this. So some people are interested in becoming a vendor and they have a little bit of cold feet. They don't know some of the ins and outs. What advice would you give someone if they were asking you if they should do the market, if they're just nervous? What is some advice that you can give them?
Well, I'll just say, first of all, if you don't try it, you don't know. And
Yeah.
it's still going to bother you whether or not you can do it. So just, go ahead and try it.
No other way to tell
You
if
know.
you can do it.
Yeah. I have had people ask me about it, and they've bounced their ideas off of me.
Yeah.
What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And I just kind of explained the rules to them. And said,
Mhm.
you got to meet these rules.
Yeah.
But inside that, sky's the limit.
Yeah. Do whatever you want. Yeah. Yeah.
I got to admit, I really like how the YLNI is managing the market and how they do things. So
Good. That's awesome.
I'm pretty happy on that front.
Ashley does a fantastic job. She
Yes.
has done a fantastic job for years.
Yes.
So-
Geez.
I agree. And it's difficult. Did you know there's technically over 350 vendors? Obviously, they're not all there at once. So
Yeah, I was going to say, I knew there was about 150 at a shot.
right. But double that is actually how many vendors there
So
truly
it's
are.
just trying to keep track of.
Exactly. So it's a big job, and we're very thankful for Ashley
Yeah.
for sure. So tell me a little bit more about what day-to-day looks like at the farm. How you mentioned your daughter, like what kind of help do you have, and what does a day-to-day look like?
It really is a little bit dependent on the day of the week.
Okay.
Because, Saturday is the market day, and it's a long
Sure.
day.
Oh, no question.
So Saturday afternoon, I get home, I unload the truck, I take a nap.
Yeah.
And usually I'm back up to speed on Monday. And I'll say a Monday is the day that I run errands, do smaller things on the farm, or get into the long-term projects.
Sure.
Because starting Tuesday, you're starting to think, what do you have to have ready for this week's market?
Right.
You can
Because it
ease
comes
into
quick.
that,
Saturday
and
comes
Friday
quick.
is, okay, everybody's working. We got to get it all ready, cleaned, packaged, refrigerated if need be, loaded.
Right. Ready to go for early
'cause
morning.
Unless the weather's really cold, I load the truck the night before.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
I save out what has to be refrigerated. And even sometimes, if it's cold enough, I will put that in the truck the night before because I let the truck be the refrigerator.
Sure. Sure.
So it varies every day. Because you don't know. I walk the farm to check things
Yeah.
at least once a day, usually first thing in the morning, just to see what's gone wrong.
Yeah, because there's going to be something.
I was walking back to the barn one day and I looked over and my beehives had tipped over.
Ooh.
We'd had a storm and our skid that they were on was rather weak, and it gave, and there were about 60,000 bees. Not in a good mood.
Yeah, no kidding.
That was an immediate change of plans for that day.
Yeah. Wow. Did you get stung at all
I
that day?
saw it from a far enough distance that I could turn around and get the bee suit
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
and my tools
Very necessary.
and come back out with the smoker and reassemble the hives.
Oh man, that's so
And-
frustrating. I bet.
Cross my fingers that the queens didn't get killed, and they didn't. So,
Is it easy to spot the queen?
no.
I wouldn't think so. I was curious. I mean, if you've
They
been
are
doing it for a
larger.
while.
Some people are better at it than I am. I'm not that great.
Sure, and we have a lot of bee. We have a
Yes.
lot of bee people at the market.
I know. I've asked a lot of questions. They
Sure.
all know me.
Sure. Yeah,
So,
Dylan was the one that was on the show, not too long ago, and I'm sure we'll have more bee people on. But it's fascinating,
it is a. I
very
spent
intriguing.
30 plus years as an engineer, so I'm used to challenges, and that is a hobby that will challenge you.
No kidding. Yeah, no kidding. So yeah, that makes sense. Based on what is happening, based on the season, based on the day, your schedule can be a little crazy, I would assume. I mean, but okay. Tell me about with the changes, not only with the market as far as every year Ashley does. We talked about Ashley earlier. There's something new every year. There's hay rides. There's this. There's the podcast here. There's different things going on. Also in Fort Wayne, downtown Fort Wayne, from what you've seen, what are some of the things that you enjoy over the last, I'd say maybe 5 years with the changes? What is something that is exciting to you?
Well, one of the things that really struck me at first, and it might seem little or whatever, but the idea of the food court area, and that they could have the vendors that were selling the liquor. And some people kind of turned their noses up, but I thought it was a great idea, and I was amazed that they were able to pull it off.
Sure.
That's the one that stunned me. They actually pulled that off.
Because you're
Really?
in public still. Like,
Yeah.
it's,
I also thought the pony rides was
yeah.
brilliance
Yeah.
because of the kids.
Oh, sure.
The pop program, I really
you
like
see
that.
a lot of the, power of produce. If you're
Yes.
listening and you don't know what the pop program is, well, and actually this is the last week for it, this Saturday, but the pop program is ages, 3 to 10 or something like that, and they can use a $2 token, same as cash.
Yeah,
So
I
they
think-
go to the pop tent, receive the token, turn it into you, and if something is $4, now they've spent $2, and then you turn them into Ashley, and she gives you straight cash for it. So it's
Yeah.
completely funded. It's really cool, and it's great for kids to learn on buying produce and things like that. So
Yeah, we do remind them that they have to buy produce or plants.
right, yep,
They can't get the
a keychain
jams or honey or
yeah,
some of the other stuff. I'm going to say that when we were selling the plants, we had a couple families come up and all the kids had tokens, and they were planting their garden. And I saw some pretty first-class negotiations between siblings that could.
yeah,
The CEOs of GM or whatever or Amazon have nothing on them.
that's awesome.
Some serious negotiations
Yeah,
of, you save your token and then we can get this, and,
sure.
they were figuring out how to collect their tokens to get the most things,
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
they were going to share a pumpkin plant and they were going to,
Yeah,
it's like, okay.
Yeah, that's cool. So about the market, what is the YLNI farmers market? What do you think separates it from other markets? As you know, we just got again #1 in the state, I believe number 3 or 4 in the Midwest, and then I believe we're like #6 in the nation. Out of 2,000 markets that
Yeah.
participated, we got, I believe, #6 in the entire nation. I mean, that sounds crazy, but why do you think that is? What makes it stand out?
Part of it is how it's been managed. That really is part of a big part. where the vendors feel like they're listened to and treated with respect. Part of it is the fact that downtown in general has come alive.
That helps too.
That
yeah.
makes it a very good thing. I've had, I don't know how many people have, our booth is right on the corner by the History Center.
Yep.
And the people come along from, say, one of the newer buildings that has apartments, and they walk down, what festival is this? And it's not a festival.
It's every week.
Every weekend.
Like, what?
What? Yeah, that's been how they walk all around like it's a festival.
Right. It has that feel, but except
Yeah.
it's every week. What festival do you know is every single week? And then when it gets cold, moves indoors.
Yeah.
Like nothing happened. Like nothing changed.
So that's
That's a good
probably
point.
the biggest part of it. The vendors are a big part of it. A lot of us have been there a long time.
Sure.
Some of the vendors have been there from the start,
Yeah.
and just you try to be consistent. There are a lot of vendors that are there like I am every weekend.
Right. Yep.
We got the same spot, and we're every weekend. The produce vendors in particular, we see this. They're people that they have their route that they're going to go through, and they're going to go this place for this place for that, ding, 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 and they're done.
Yeah.
We're busy from 8:30 to 10 with the regulars.
Right. Because they
Then
want to
we
make
get
sure
to-
you get your stuff before it's gone.
Yeah.
So they
Then we
come.
get to catch our breath for a little bit, and then
The next
11
wave.
o'clock the festival starts.
Yeah. The festival.
So it does change through the day. You can almost tell by what's going on what time it is.
Right. Right. Yeah. That's
So,
yeah. Our market for sure is.
and it is. Some people are there consistently right at the stroke of 8:30. Like, okay, well, cash box is out, phone's out. We're
Here we go.
ready to go.
Yep. They want to make sure that you don't. they
We
get
may be
before they-
still putting out price tags, or we may still
Yeah.
be
Your
getting the
regulars
last
know.
of the things out, and they just said,
It's fine.
okay, give you a minute.
Yep. Yeah, it's fine. The regulars know what they want, and they don't want you to run
So,
out, so they get
yeah.
to you. So, okay, last question, and I ask this to everyone, and they don't know it's coming. So, let's pretend that the mayor of Fort Wayne has commissioned you. He's called you and said, I need you. We are going to post a sign up top our tallest building so that the entire city can see it. We're going to make a sign, and you get to say what it's going to read. So it's your message to the entire city that everyone can look up no matter where you live. It's going to be so high up that everyone in our area can see it. What does it say?
It says there's a lot of good around you. Just take a look.
Love that. So I'll tell you something. You were on average a little bit quicker with that than most people. Like it just came kind of top of mind. How did you, is that your creed?
I think I saw where you were going with the question and had the answer.
Yeah, you were. That's good though.
I pictured it on the Lincoln Tower. I pictured
Right?
it on the Tower building.
Yeah. No, that's good.
I guess AEP is taller. Yes.
Whatever. We would say even a building on top of the AEP. That way, really more people
Yeah.
can see it, right? Yeah. So, see the good that's all around you.
Yep.
I like that. Sometimes when we having a bad day or things like you mentioned, you went out to see what went wrong. You didn't say if something had gone wrong. I noticed that you said that. Sometimes there's days where, we just know, well, this day isn't going to go exactly the way that we would hope, and here it goes. But there's going to be good all around you. So, that's really cool. Tell me if people want to follow you or get a hold of you, social media or email or whatever, give us the information. You are there every week, right? 9 to 1 at the farmer's market. And the best way to get a hold of you or follow you is?
Well, we do have a presence on Facebook.
Okay.
And I think it's TreeFrog Farm 100
Okay.
on Facebook. email is treefrogfarm100e at Gmail.
Okay.
That's the best ways.
Okay. So if they have questions, they can always email about a particular product, or if you may have something in the next coming weeks or something like that, right?
That works. Or come down to the market or
Sure.
to the indoor market. That works the best. That face-to-face really works.
Right. I'm sure you love that. Yep. So every Saturday, 9 to 1, come out to TreeFrog Farm. Thank you for being on the show. Loved hearing your story. Thank you.
Yep. Bye-bye.
This podcast is brought to you by Coraggio Media. The show is edited by me and sponsored by the YLNI Farmers Market. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram for all the latest updates. We will see you next week, where we will be sure to show you how you can enjoy Fort Wayne.